Hello and welcome to Your Health Reclaimed with DrPND, where we help you reclaim your health with tips, tools, and resources to live your most optimal and vibrant life. Here's your host, DrPND.
Hello and welcome back, everyone, to Your Health Reclaimed. I'm your host, Dr. PND, and soon this podcast actually will be called AMA Wellness. We are switching back to our original name. We have already sent a few newsletters out to announce that, but we are going to continue to send more newsletters while the progress is happening. So a lot of good, exciting things are coming up. We have new strategies that we're going to be implementing, and we'll also be offering more services to help you on your journey to optimal health, wellness, and vitality. So without going in more detail about that, which is very exciting, I want to get right into our podcast for today. A very popular topic and something that now is becoming very common, and the fallout, what I call, is taking place. We are seeing it, and we get a lot of questions and inquiries about that, and that is how to keep the weight off after a semaglutide or GLP-1 medication cycles. You know, some people stay on it for a few months, 6 months, a year. We have people that already been on for 2 years. But eventually you will have to get off of those medications. That is not something that you would want to stay on for the rest of your life. And there's obvious reasons why, which I'm not going to go into those. But the biggest thing is now that we're getting inquiries again is how to keep the weight off after those medications have ended. Okay. And this comes up a lot. So what happens when you stop the GLP-1 medications? Well, because those medications can be incredibly helpful for jumpstarting weight loss. One of the biggest concerns is this: how do you keep that weight off once the medication is gone? And honestly, a lot of people are beginning to struggle with that because they're starting to see the weight come back, and oftentimes come back with a vengeance. Okay, what we call that is, the return of the food noise. That constant thinking about food, craving is coming back, appetite is increasing, oftentimes drastically. And of course, that by default is followed back by weight gain, and unhealthy weight gain in the form of body fat and retained water. But the good news is that, weight gain after semaglutide even is common. It is not inevitable. And this is where, the rubber meets the road. Is how do you do that? How do you not go back and waste all that time, energy, and money that you put in there not to do it? Because another thing is that when people go back on those medications second or third time around, they don't work as well usually. The body sort of fights that, and that's not something uncommon. I've been in this industry for almost 30 years, and I've seen things come and go. Back from the 90s, with the fen was extremely popular, very effective. Obviously, if you guys do your research, you'll see why the FDA pulled it off due to dangerous and sometimes fatal side effects. But nonetheless, it was very effective. But every time people got on it again, they had a lessened effect of how the medication worked. Then we had the fentromethazine, the HCG diets. Same thing. People lose weight left and right, felt great, generally speaking, but then the weight came back with a vengeance, and when they went on the second time, it was not as good of a progress. And every consecutive time people did that, they had less and less progress because the body ultimately adapts. One thing you have to understand with the GLP-1 medications is that, and any of those, is ultimately you're causing a forced starvation. Any way you look at it, you are causing the body to go into a forced, unnatural starvation mode by tricking it into starvation. So when that happens, the body is going to fight back, and those medications and processes just become less and less effective as the more time they're repeated. Okay, so that's something I just wanted to share with you because, again, I've seen this time and time again. for the last 29 years, and it's nothing new. After the GLPs wear off, another 5 or 10 years or 15 years, whatever it might be, excuse me, you are going to get the next, medication of some sort. There's going to be like a GLP or any of the other ones, basically. There's really nothing new under the sun, as the saying goes. They're just in a different format. Chemically, they're different, obviously, the medications themselves, but ultimately, it's going to be the same process of tricking the body into a forced starvation mode. Okay. So I wanted to discuss with you today, what do you do when you get off of those medications? Okay. So one of the best things that many people do while on the semaglutide is that they don't rely on medication alone. So first is being on medication. When they get on those medications, they actually start an exercise program if they already haven't had one. That, first of all, is going to accelerate your progress drastically. Okay. But two, is going to also set you up for success after the medication is over. So keep your exercise routine going. Okay. And those people, again, they exercise. It can be something like a simple, just walking more. Obviously, it can be all the way to going to a gym and hiring a professional trainer, implementing strength resistance training of high intensity protocols as well as cardiovascular protocols. This can vary, but regardless, consistency is the key, and it can be as little as walking. Just more. Those people have succeeded much better and much better results. And when they get on those medications, they keep those exercise routines going. That drastically helps. And those are the routines that help you keep that weight off longer term, or at least the comeback of the weight is drastically reduced. Research has shown now that people who continue their activity after stopping the semaglutide tend to regain far less weight than those who become sedentary again. General recommendation is about 150 total minutes per week of moderate movement, plus 2 days of strength training. That's something that I can clinically confirm from our experiences the last 30 years almost, that people, most of our clients who train 2 days a week, that's 85% of those people. Some will train 3 days, some will train 1 day, depending. But 2 days is a consistent, practical, applicable average that people can tolerate very well within their schedules. That gives them the ability to train, recover properly, build the proper muscle mass, get the physical aspect of fitness, the benefits of those training sessions, and also have the actual time, to implement them into their weekly schedules. I don't care who you are, aside from very rare cases, 2 days a week of strength training done 40 to 60 minutes at the very most, anybody can do. And if you can't, then your lifestyle is out of balance. Okay, because I've had many discussions with hundreds of thousands of clients over the years who tried to give me excuses why they didn't have the time. If you look at your time frame and your screen time on your devices, you'll quickly find out that you have more than plenty. But back to the point of people doing 150 minutes of moderate movement a week plus 2 days of strength training, that was the sweet spot, and these people literally had the best results for keeping the weight off or having weight of some kind come back a lot less, which ultimately, again, that's the goal. So, for the weight maintenance, many experts, and I definitely agree with that, suggest aiming closer to actually 250 minutes a week. Okay. Especially if you're about to come off those appetite suppressing medications. So, general recommendation, again, 150 minutes per week of moderate movement. They can be cardiovascular, bike riding, elliptical, swimming, walking, good quality yoga, Pilates, plus 2 days of strength training. But the 250 minute per week of moderate exercise, that is going to be even much better. And research has now shown that for a fact. And again, I can confirm that. I can vouch for that. You can do, and 250 minutes of motor activity a week is not really that much. Let's be realistic. Okay, you can do combination of things. So now, that doesn't mean, again, you need, intense workouts every day, but motor activity collectively, it can be biking again, walking, swimming, you can do yoga, Pilates, hiking of some kind, any kind of, cardiovascular activity. I have people that go dancing, that just enjoy dancing, anything that just gets you moving consistently. And the total duration is, and the consistency of week to week is really what counts the most, as opposed to being perfect. You don't have to have the trackers and all the apps and the wearables to make sure that you're perfect. That can cause anxiety and sometimes even backfire. Okay, if you're a person who thrives on these, that's great. It works for you. It doesn't work for everybody. It really is consistency over time will beat any kind of perfection that is not being consistent for a long term. So 2 days a week of strength training, yes, some weeks might be only one, depending on schedules, travel, vacation, so forth, and 250 minutes a week of moderate cardiovascular activity. So remember that is extremely important. All right. So remember, the goal isn't perfection, but continuously moving forward in the right direction with consistency. Okay, let's go to number 2. That is, make strategic food choices that support fullness. These medications work in a couple of very powerful ways, which no supplement or combination of supplements can ever duplicate, and they never will. I promise you that. Okay. One is they slow stomach emptying. So obviously you feel fuller longer, and that impacts hunger signals in the brain. So cravings quiet down and even stop. That's why so many people eat much less without feeling constantly deprived. But when you stop taking the medication, those hunger cues will return, and oftentimes with a vengeance. So the question becomes, how do you naturally create a sense of fullness and control as close as possible to that medication? And the answer is high quality protein, good quality fiber, and healthy fat. When you balance a meal, what's called the glycemic load of a meal, that includes protein, healthy starch, healthy fat, and healthy good quality fiber, which, by the way, you can omit the carbohydrates, especially at night, but it still is going to have protein, fiber, and healthy fat. That will drastically slow down, relatively speaking, the gastric emptying. But it's going to keep you fuller longer and give you also stable energy. The truth be told is that most people that are obese and overweight, they eat large amounts of processed and even ultra processed foods. Those foods are extremely palatable. They have the zero to no usable fiber, and they're loaded with high glycemic starch and sugars. Okay. Even if it's something salty, like a piece of bread or a bagel, it's a high glycemic food with little usable fiber, little nutrition. And those people return to those foods usually very quickly because they never remove them in the first place. So this is something that, you have to be really honest with yourself, is when you get into those medications, did you change your diet? Did you change the way you eat? Okay. Because if you didn't, you'll absolutely return back with a vengeance to those foods because you never reprogrammed your taste buds not to want to crave those foods, not to want to eat these foods. And that takes time. The people that succeed, the absolute best with those medications, are the people that begin exercise, proper exercise, like we discussed, and they change their diet. Okay. They are able to change their diet because those medications do kill the hunger response and the gastric emptying time. So they're able to tolerate very well the withdrawal from those processed and ultra-processed foods. And when they take the medications for, say, 6 to 9 months a year or more, they give them ample amount of time for their body to adapt to the high quality food, even though it might not be organic or grass-fed or high nutrient dense, but at least they're eating clean and not processed food. So when they get off those medications, they're able to keep that pattern going. And yes, the hunger will come back a little quicker, but those massive hunger spikes are not going to be there, and especially the craving for processed and ultra processed foods will not be there. So they're able to do much, much better. And again, these are the people that have absolute best high quality success with those medications, because they lose most amount of body fat, not muscle, because a lot of people, when they lose weight, they're going to lose body fat, they'll lose water, but also a lot of people lose muscle. That's why I see those people look like they're sunken and depleted, almost zombie looking like. That's why there's a phrase called GLP-1 face. You look depleted and sunken in, and just like you just got raised from the dead or something. Some people look horrible. Much worse than when they're overweight. And the reason is because they absolutely deplete their body of any little nutrition they usually had, and they kill their muscle mass. So again, people that do best on those medications, they eat enough protein, they start resistance training, they start proper cardiovascular workouts, and they change their diet. So those medications come off. These people either to be able to maintain what they've lost as far as fat, and they look normal, they look healthy, they are healthy, and they are on their way, to not having to deal with weight issues. And at the very least, if they were to gain something, it's no more than 10-15% of what they lost. So think about that if you are doing those medications, or if you're thinking about doing those medications, or if you have gotten all those medications and you want to give it a second shot at that and do it right. So back to the meal balance is good quality protein, fiber, and healthy fat. Protein helps slow digestion, stabilizes blood sugar, and keeps you satisfied longer. Protein has the highest thermic effect of all the macronutrients, which are protein, fat, and carbohydrates, meaning the body takes the most amount of energy to digest that. So that's why it is much more satisfying. Fiber adds the actual bulk, which not only supports gut health, it has many other benefits, but also reduces cravings. And then we have the fat in there, that too, believe it or not, is very satisfying. So now you have the protein, which is very satisfying and filling, along with the healthy fat. So that further slows the gastric emptying time, but also adds more fullness and ultimately even more satiety to your overall meal, so you feel much better. Also, when people have lost body fat, their body is able to, at this point, use very effectively, or at least a lot more effectively, efficiently, their body fat stores, or their adipose tissue, and convert that to energy. So when people lose body fat, they burn body fat. What they call it is the body goes through a biochemical process that basically takes your stored fat and converts that, breaks it down, converts it to usable energy, and burns it as energy. That's why you lose weight, your body fat particularly. So what people call fat burning, this is the biochemical process that the body goes through for using the fat as energy. That's what's called ketosis. So again, meal, each meal is very important. That's why nutrition is extremely important. So instead of just focusing on eating less, focus on eating smarter. Okay. Now, some of the great high protein, high fatty foods will include, the list I'm going to give here is preferably organic, pasture-raised, grass-fed, regenerative, which they're available pretty much anywhere now. It's Sprouts and Trader Joe's and Whole Foods, Public has them. But these protein sources are going to include eggs, chicken, turkey, Greek yogurts, cottage cheese, okay, lentils, beans, legumes, fish, especially fatty fish like sardines, anchovies, mackerel, herring, and wild-caught salmon. good quality beef, leaner cuts, but nothing leaner. Nothing fatter than, 80, 85%. Stick to like about 85, 90% if you do like a lean round. That's one of the best choices. So, leaner cuts of, again, beef, and the beef preferably should be grass-fed or organic. Quinoa is an excellent source. Obviously, raw and dry roasted nuts and seeds. Protein powders if needed, as long as they're tolerable and have high quality whey protein, isolate particularly. And that can add a good benefit, in additional protein, but also high quality amino acid supplements. Such a product that we use is called Perfect Aminos by Body Health. They're one of the best and cleanest clinical grade amino acid products on the market currently. They've been used for a few decades, at least to my knowledge, by the creator, who is a medical doctor. He's a functioning medical doctor physician that created that product, and recently they brought them out for the general public because they're just so clean, so good, and so effective. It's a phenomenal, easy way to get the additional protein in your diet. Which, by the way, that's a great product to use while you're also on GLP if you're unable to eat due to appetite. That way you can keep your muscle mass, or at least drastically, slow down the catabolic process of not eating enough. So these proteins are very, good. Now, keep in mind, it would be wise for you to do a comprehensive food sensitivity test. Make sure that you're not sensitive to any of those foods, because unfortunately, eggs and dairy are very highly reactive foods for a lot of people, and you don't want to do, add additional inflammation to your body. So that'll be something, a good thing to do is to do a comprehensive food sensitivity test to see. If you guys want, just call us, let us know. We have one of the best and most comprehensive out there currently in existence, called IgG Food Explorer by Diagnostic Solutions Laboratories that we use, something that we can drop ship directly to your home. It's a finger stick test, and you'll be able to know exactly. It looks for over 280 different foods and what you're sensitive to or not, so you'll know. But again, don't underestimate protein. A lot of people do, and a lot of people have a hard time with that. Now, next is, fruits and vegetables. They take up obviously a lot of more space in your stomach because of the water and fiber contact, so they get you fuller faster, but they're far lower in calories, so you get hungrier. One suggestion that I have with people is eat fruit first and eat it early in the day, and keep fruit to a minimum because it is fructose. It is a very dense form of energy available in the body. Some people, especially depending on genetic makeup, can very easily and readily store that as body fat. So I'll keep fruit to a minimum and focus on vegetables, okay, especially fibrous vegetables. So that combination is extremely powerful for maintaining weight loss. So a simple rule is this: build every meal around protein, fiber, healthy fat, plus whole foods. Okay, and ultimately any of those are going to be whole foods, but just keep it simple. Okay, and that is a well-rounded, healthy meal. At nighttime, get to a lot of good, high quality, high fiber vegetables, big salads, and so forth. Good healthy fats from like olives, avocados, olive oils, and good quality protein from but wild caught seafood and or pasture raised, grass fed, organic protein sources. If you don't have access to organic, pasture raised, stick to conventional. That will be the next best thing. You're gonna still get pretty much the same benefit. Okay. So again, that alone will prevent a massive rebound hunger and the subsequent rebound weight gain that comes with those medications. Okay, so let's go to number 3. Okay, one thing is that don't try to do this alone. Get an expert support. Okay, this is a very important piece. Okay, if your goal has always been long-term weight management, okay, especially if you're one of those folks that is, genetically very well inclined to gain weight easily, and or you also struggle with food addiction, um, get help. Get help because a supportive structure can make a massive difference in your long-term weight management health. Okay, it can. I see a lot of people. It definitely can feel scary to come off of those semaglutide. People literally get anxiety of when they're about to come off those medications because they one have heard it. The doctors have usually told them that it can be a rebound effect, and they've seen it. So a lot of times, sometimes people will think that well now it's all on me, and it can be anxiety provoking. It can be overwhelming. And that's not true. This is the time to honestly lean into support because sustainable weight loss is not about willpower. Okay, it really is about structure. Okay, and the key is really not to hesitate to work with a professional, somebody who has specialized obesity specialist, functional health practitioner, it can be a personal trainer, dietitian or nutritionist, health coaches who understand metabolic health. The right team can really help you adjust your nutrition, prevent the regain of weight, build long-term habits, support hormones and metabolism, and stay accountable. So you don't have to go backwards. Okay, you just need the right plan moving forward. And again, I want to emphasize if you're somebody who either has started the semaglutide medications and or thinking about doing or about to start it, implement those changes I just described immediately. You will have the highest rate of success and the highest chance of not going back after the medication has ended if you don't do it without that. I promise you that. So my final encouragement, is this. I want to leave you with this. Yes, weight gain after semaglutide is very common, unfortunately, but it does not have to be your story. Okay, with consistent movement, smart food choices, with well-balanced meals, and the right support, you can maintain your progress and continue building the healthy life you work so hard for. Okay, this is not the end of the journey. It's just the next chapter. And honestly, you absolutely can do this. Okay, but be smart. Plan ahead, and don't be one of those people that just throws caution to the wind and relies nothing on nothing else but just those medications. Because these are the people that absolutely become disasters. One, they're the ones that struggle the most. They don't get as much benefit from the medication as far as weight loss. They usually have the most side effects that sometimes are possible with those medications. And they come back, with a vengeance as far as the weight gain goes after those medications are discontinued. It's because I have people that come into me and say, well, I started semaglutide and I've only lost a little bit of weight. And when I do an analysis on them, yeah, they ate processed and ultra-processed food. That was their staple diet. They're morbidly obese. They have horrible eating and sleeping habits. And they thought they're going to take the medication that's going to solve all the problem. And it doesn't work like that most often. And then they're wondering why they got barely anything out of those medications. So you have to ultimately, walk them through what the reality of it is. And unfortunately, most people don't want to hear it. They just want a quick fix, in and out, something that will be effortless, because let's be realistic, giving yourself a little shot or taking lozenges, whatever the form of delivery of those medications you're doing, it's little to no effort, aside from the, monthly cost, which, depending on the person, some insurances even cover these nowadays. So, be aware of if you want optimal health or as close to that as possible based on your personal genetic makeup and current and past medical history, you'll have to do work. You will have to put forth the effort if you want high quality, long lasting results. Okay, there is no easy way out. You can never have your cake and eat it too, as the saying goes. It's never going to happen. Okay, I promise you, 10, 15, 20 years, whatever it might be from now, then the next greatest and latest medication comes out for weight loss, you're going to be right back to square one if you don't change your ways now. So I want to leave you guys with that. If you have any questions, call us. We deal with this stuff all the time. That's what we do. I can give you, a free consultation. I can walk you through how, things look for you based on your, personal situation. And if you decide that we're a good fit, we would love to help you out. Okay. You can go to drpnd.com, fill out the form, reach out to us. You can call us 770-905-6451, or you can email me directly. My email is anawellness@gmail.com. We would love to talk to you. We'd love to speak with you and see how we can help you in your journey to optimal health. Well, guys, this is it for today. I tried to keep it short. And on next time, we're going to have some more important updates on our transition back to ANA wellness with Ashley and I, and also some more fun podcasts and that are educational, helpful, to you for your journey to optimal health. Until next time.
Thank you for your valuable time and for listening to the Your Health Reclaimed podcast with Dr. PND. Be sure to hit the subscribe button and share this episode with a person you know it can help. If we can help you in any way, or you would like to connect with Dr. PND, please visit drpnd.com. That's drpnd.com.